Welcome back, everybody. So I think by now we've all heard that the at-home store has finally started putting out their Halloween merchandise. So I roped Tom into driving me over there today, and we're going to head in and check it out. All right, before we go into the store, I wanted to say a special thank you to all the patrons who help support the channel. If you're interested in joining our Fright Club, check out the link to my Patreon page in the description below. With that said, let's head on in and check out the Halloween aisle. Tom, of course, is going to head off somewhere else to see what catches his eye, but my eye is drawn, of course, to the orange autumn and Halloween offerings. I do love this little pumpkin that looks like the skeletons are popping out with the sort of articulated hands there. And the big barrels of pumpkins themselves look like something I would enjoy decorating with. But you know how I hate velvet pumpkins? I hate little squishy, feltish pumpkins like that, perhaps even more. This pumpkin is pretty cool, though. I love the design of it for some reason. I'm really taken to it. It was a bit pricey. Hopefully the rest of them in the store won't be. And that's primarily because this seems offhand like the sort of merchandise we're going to find at the old-time pottery store. They tend to start putting stuff out early as well, so we'll take a look at that one pretty soon. But it's just kind of these little generic tchotchkes. I mean, this little guy here is pretty creepy. At first I was going to say he's like a snowman head. What? I guess it's a ghost head. I don't know. But it is giving me sort of Dollar Tree vibes. All of this stuff is kind of like the cheap, generic, inoffensive decor that you're going to find everywhere. It's kind of like the stocking stuffer junk of Halloween. But sometimes we'll get lucky and find a few decent things. One thing about the at-home store is they usually pick a theme or two or three every year and have some really good things to actually coordinate with a particular theme. I'm not sure any of the stuff that we're looking at is related to any of that. I don't see any special labels on merchandise offhand, but I'm hoping when that stuff does start arriving, if it does in fact do that this year, that we will get some more exciting merchandise. They've got some interesting stuff like these cowboy skeletons. There's one in a tub. There's one next to a horse. This would actually make a great life-size option for a display, especially with those sort of life-size skeleton horses that we can get in other places like Home Depot or whatnot. Hopefully they have something cool like that this year. A Western theme, I'm all for it. But if you're sticking to traditional witches and whatnot, you could get a little toad to go with it, or lots of acorns and squashes, which they have in abundance on their shelves. Of course, we can't get through Halloween without seeing the gnomes attack, but we're going to move on with that. I like this little mushroom with an eye sticking out of it. That's very creepy. That would be an excellent prop in a witch display as well. We've got some more pumpkins, some fall things, acorns and whatnot. I think there's some more of those pumpkins with the skeletons popping out. I think that's a bit larger size down there. Of course, we have the light up candles. We've seen that for a few years here in a row. A few more gnomes, and I actually like the witches boots that we see there. I have a pair that I stick out in my witch display as well. Just kind of helps flesh out the theme. If you have a medieval display, you know, they've got these great sort of dragon statues as well. But down here, as we make our way to the bottom of the shelf, we're going to see some gargoyles too. I absolutely love those gargoyles. I wish they had it in a couple of different designs. Those would look absolutely awesome on some cemetery pillars, or even if you just sort of tucked it up somewhere in the eaves of your house to look down upon all the trick-or-treaters. They are a bit pricey, a little over $100 each. Oh, but look at these. We've got these sort of creepy faces on the pumpkins. It's very reminiscent of Martha Stewart's Grandin Road sort of pumpkins, but obviously you're going to save a lot of money if you buy it here. A couple of more interesting pumpkin designs, some happy little ghosts. I'm getting Target vibes from that little ghost there on the left and the designs that you see on those pumpkins themselves. Target itself is a great store for Halloween shopping. I can't wait to see what they have to offer this year. I tend to buy a lot of stuff from them, surprisingly. And now that I'm thinking about it, I can't even remember really the last time I bought something from the at-home store. I mean, it does have an interesting selection, but just nothing kind of like jumps out and says, I need to have this in my Halloween display. But, you know, they do have some interesting stuff. Like, actually, this is kind of cool here. It is a bleeding candle in the shape of a brain. I don't think I've seen one of those before, but if you had a mad scientist laboratory, that could fit right in there. But a lot of this stuff, again, just stuff you might sit out on a coffee table or just on the side. It's a little harder to build a display with it as opposed to just having some Halloween decorations sitting around the house. Of course, it is called the at-home store, so I can't really complain about that too much. And look there, you do have a crystal ball option. Of course, another gnome. Is that the same one we saw before? I'm not sure, but I think that's at least number 3 or 4 if it's not. All right, a lot of these little wooden signs that you can stick around. You know, I got lured into those when I first moved into my house. I bought a bunch of them. Now they're sitting on a shelf in my storage room. I don't even put them out at all, hardly in a year. They do have some light-up pumpkins if you're interested in that, and some cheap hanging decor. I would love to see some more life-size ones of those, and I do think we will see some of those later in the season. I love the little cat, though, that is on this pumpkin. Not a bad price. I think that was like 15 bucks. It looks really cool. And of course, you have these carve your own pumpkins as well. Good selection there, but they seem to all be the same size. Well, no, I lied. We've got some little tiny black pumpkins right there. And of course, more signs. An easy way to scream Halloween decor is just spray paint your fake plants black. Easy DIY. You don't even need to buy it from here. All right, we do have some creepy merchandise. We had a spider there and a severed head. That's the same severed head, it looks like, that they've had several years in a row. I will give them the fact that it is very affordable. I think that one was under $20. It is a little lesser quality than some of the higher end stores, but, you know, if price is a concern, this is a good alternative. All right, now I know we have looked at these jars with the light up A Nightmare Before Christmas stuff either last year here or in another store. Actually, I kind of feel like I saw them at the Spirit store, as a matter of fact. But a lot of that Nightmare Before Christmas stuff we can find at the Walgreens. And that's just, again, my concern is I don't feel like there's much unique stuff on display here at the at-home store. But it is very early, so I have to say that. As I was passing this end cap of potion bottles, it made me think to myself, I really could buy some new ones, update my potion display. It has kind of stagnated, and they come up with all these cool bottles every year. So it is nice that there's a lot of options here. And of course, you have about a zillion different colorful skulls. Not really sure what you're going to do with these things, but somebody does. There's one missing. It's been purchased, apparently. Neat little end cap here with some sort of fortune teller witchy stuff. Couple of different signs, some palmistry stuff. Of course, what caught my eye was down below. Do you remember what it was? We'll be there in just a second. There's that other mushroom with the eye. Very creepy. But what's even creepier is, of course, the plants with the teeth. Look how awesome this guy is. The giant man-eating plant. Of course, it is very, resiny, ceramic-y. It's not very realistic, which is a little bit of a shame. If it had a little bit more life to it, looked a little bit more realistic as opposed to decor, that would have been awesome. All right, we had a little bit of decor that made some noise, so that's always nice. And we have some skulls, $4.99. I think those are getting more expensive this year. I would have expected, well, of course, we can get the ones at the Dollar Tree for $1. They look a lot less realistic than these, but I kind of feel like $3.99 might be a better price point, at least maybe in the past. I think that's something we're going to be dealing with a lot this year, is the effects of inflation and how that's going to affect our display purchases this year. If you needed to add to your tombstone collection, though, flesh out your cemetery, you've got a little option here. Hopefully, it's a cheap one for you. But that's going to do it for today's walkthrough of the at-home store. Obviously, it's very early in the season, and they just started putting merchandise out. We are going to be revisiting them soon as they put more merchandise out. Usually, we do a few at-home videos because they are the first, but stay tuned for lots more. Till then, take care and happy haunting.